Hey friends, welcome back to Daily English Talk. I'm Emily. If you are listening to this podcast, you are probably learning English on your own. No teacher, no classroom, no homework, no exams, just you, your phone, your headphones, and your time. Many learners think this is a problem. They think, I cannot learn English alone. I need a teacher. I need a class. I need someone to correct me. Today I want to show you something different. Today I want to show you how to practice English alone, in a quiet room, in a small moment, in real life, without stress. Not with old ideas, not with school methods, but with new ways of thinking about practice. These ideas are simple and powerful. Let's begin. Now, most learners believe that practice looks like this. You stop what you are doing, you sit down, you open a book or an app, and you say to yourself, now I study English. This idea sounds normal, it sounds serious, it sounds responsible. But this idea is actually the first big problem. Because when you say, now I study English, your brain prepares for work. It prepares for effort. It prepares for mistakes. And very often, it prepares for stress. Real English practice does not need this feeling. Real English does not live in books. It does not live in classrooms. It lives in life. Think about this expression, to fit something into your life, okay? To fit something into your life. This means to make something a natural part of your day, not something heavy or difficult. English, my friends, should fit into your life, not sit on top of it like a heavy bag. Now, here is a new way to think. Instead of creating study time, you create language moments. What is a language moment? A language moment is very small. So small that your brain does not resist it, okay? It is 10 seconds, sometimes 5 seconds, sometimes just one simple sentence. Because when something is small, it does not feel scary. And when it does not feel scary, you actually do it. Now, let me explain this with a very normal situation. You are making tea or coffee. This is not a special moment. You are not trying to learn anything. You're just standing there. Most people say nothing. Their mind is empty or it is somewhere else, but you gently change one thing. Inside your head, slowly and calmly, you say, I am making tea. The water is hot. I am waiting. Nothing more. You do not repeat it 10 times. You do not check grammar. You do not ask, is this correct? You just let the sentence exist. This is important. This is not speaking practice. This is thinking practice. And thinking in English is real practice. Now, many learners believe that only speaking counts. Well, speaking is important. But before you can speak easily, you must think comfortably. And thinking in English is like warming up your engine. It prepares your brain without noise, without pressure. Now, let's look at another everyday moment. You open your phone, and before you read messages, before you scroll, before you disappear into the screen, you pause for 1 second and say inside your head, I'm checking my phone. I want to see messages. I am just looking. Here is something important. You're not translating from your language. You're not saying the sentence in your language first, and then moving to English. You are going directly to English. This is what we call cutting out the middleman. Okay? Cutting out the middleman. The middleman is translation. And when you remove it, English becomes faster and more natural. You are also not correcting yourself. Correction kills flow. Think about this idiom to get in your own way. It means you stop yourself from moving forward. To get in your own way. When you correct every sentence, you get in your own way. Language moments are not about being right. They are about being present. You are simply connecting English to what is happening right now. This connection is powerful because the brain loves meaning and life is full of meaning. Most learners say, I will practice when I have time. But time does not appear suddenly. Perfect time is like a perfect day. It sounds nice, but it rarely comes. Here's another expression. Waiting for the right moment. It means you delay action hoping for ideal conditions. Language moments remove this problem. You will no longer wait for the right moment. The right moments do not wait. The right moments appear naturally. When you wash your hands, when you walk, when you sit down, when you feel tired, these moments come many times every day. This is exactly how babies learn a language. Babies do not study. They do not memorize rules. They do not sit down and say, "Now I learn English." They connect words to actions. They connect sounds to feelings. They live inside language. And this is the key idea. You are not too old to learn this way. Your brain still knows how. The problem is not your ability. The problem is the method. Language moments give your brain permission to relax. And when the brain relaxes, learning speeds up. So this is your first solo system. Solo here means individual, personal. You stop saying I study English. Instead, you say nothing. You simply live small pieces of English many times a day. 5 seconds, one sentence, one moment. And over time, something interesting happens. English stops feeling like work. It starts feeling familiar. And familiarity is the door to fluency. All right, many English learners say the same sentence again and again. I understand English, but I cannot speak. They often believe the problem is vocabulary or grammar or pronunciation. But very often, the real problem is something else. The real problem is fear of sound. When you speak out loud, many things happen at the same time. Your voice becomes public. Your mistakes become real. You feel exposed. Okay, there is an expression in English related to this. To put yourself out there. To put yourself out there, it means to show yourself openly even when you feel nervous. For many learners, speaking English feels like putting yourself out there too early. So the body reacts, the throat becomes tight, the mind goes blank, the words disappear. This is not because you are bad at English. It is because your brain thinks you are in danger. So here is a very different idea. What if you could practice speaking without danger, without fear? What if you could train your mouth and your brain without making a sound? This is where invisible speaking begins. If something is invisible, you cannot see it. So invisible speaking means this. You move your mouth, you form the words, but no sound comes out. You are speaking, but only you know it. At first, this may feel strange. But think about this expression, to take the pressure off. Okay? To take the pressure off. It means to remove stress from a situation. Invisible speaking takes the pressure off speaking because there is no sound. There is no audience. And when there is no audience, fear becomes smaller. You can practice invisible speaking almost anywhere. When you are walking, when you are sitting on a bus, when you are alone at home, even when people are around you, nobody hears you, nobody judges you. You slowly move your lips and say, I think today was long. I feel a little tired. I want to rest. You do not rush. You do not perform. You're not trying to sound fluent. You are training movement. This is important. Speaking is not only language. Speaking is physical. Your mouth, your tongue, your jaw all need practice. Invisible speaking trains these parts gently, slowly, step by step. There is another English expression related to this, to ease into something. Okay, to ease into something, it means to start slowly without force. Invisible speaking helps you ease into speaking. You're not jumping into deep water. You're not standing at the edge, letting your feet get used to it. You are standing at the edge, letting your feet get used to it. Another powerful part of invisible speaking is confidence. Confidence does not come from being perfect. It comes from familiarity. When your mouth moves in English every day, even without sound, your body learns this is normal. And when something feels normal, fear loses power. Many learners wait until they feel ready to speak. But readiness is not something you wait for. Confidence comes after action. This means you act first and confidence follows. Invisible speaking is action without risk. After some time, something interesting happens. Sound wants to come out. At first, maybe only one word, maybe only a whisper. You do not force it. Forcing creates tension, and tension blocks fluency. So you let it happen naturally. It means you allow things to develop in their own time. You let sound appear naturally, like a door opening slowly. You do not push the door. You do not kick it open. You must turn the handle and wait. This is very different from classroom speaking. In classrooms, learners often feel they are on the spot. It means everyone is watching and waiting for you. You are on the spot. Invisible speaking removes the spotlight. You will no longer feel on the spot. There is no spotlight. There is only practice. Now, another benefit is mental clarity. When you speak silently, your brain focuses on meaning, not speed. You're not racing. You are building smooth pathways in your mind. These pathways make future speaking easier. So, invisible speaking is not fake practice. It is pre-speaking. It prepares your system. And one day, you realize something important. Speaking out loud feels less scary. Not because you forced yourself, but because your brain already knows the path. Invisible speaking toted the way. This is practice without embarrassment, practice without correction, practice without stress. And that is why it works. Okay, most English learners believe that progress comes from learning more words, more grammar rules, more lessons, more videos. They feel that if they stop adding new things, they stop moving forward. But this way of thinking often causes a problem. The mind becomes crowded. There is an English expression related to this. To have too much on your plate. Okay? To have too much on your plate. This means you are trying to handle too many things at the same time. Many learners have too much anguish on their plate. They know many words, but they cannot use them easily. They understand many rules, but they freeze when they want to speak. This happens because language does not grow wide first, it grows deep first. So here is a very different idea. Instead of learning many things in one day, you learn one idea, not one word, not one grammar rule, one idea. An idea is something human, something you feel, something you experience. For example, the idea of being tired, the idea of waiting, the idea of enjoying something small, the idea of not wanting to do something. This is important. Ideas connect language to life. Words alone are empty. Ideas are meaningful. They are full. So when you choose one idea for the day, you say to yourself quietly, "Today, my English idea is being tired." That is all. You do not write it down. You do not study it. You simply keep it in your mind. Then during the day, you return to this idea again and again in English. You might think, "I feel tired today. I am a little tired, but it's okay. I was tired this morning. I want to rest later." These sentences are simple, but something important is happening. You are not chasing English. English is walking beside you. You let the sentences sink in. It means you give your brain time to fully absorb something. The one idea day system lets English sink in. You're not rushing. You are circling the same meaning from different angles. This builds comfort, and comfort is more important than speak. Many learners believe fluency means fast speaking. But fluency actually means easy thinking. When the same idea comes back again and again, your brain stops working hard. The sentences come more naturally. This is how children learn to speak. They talk about the same things many times. They do not say something new every minute. They repeat ideas, but in slightly different ways. This repetition is not boring for the brain. It is reassuring. And there is a related idiom to get the hang of something. It means to slowly understand how something works. The one idea day system helps you get the hang of English thinking. You're not memorizing. You're living inside meaning. Another important part of this system is emotional safety. When learners try to practice many topics, they often feel lost. They think, "I don't know enough words. I don't know how to say this. I am missing something." This creates frustration. But when you stay with one idea, you stop feeling behind. You feel grounded. Grounded means stable and calm. You know where you are at the end of the day. You can say, "Today I talked about being tired." That sentence alone gives you a sense of progress. Not fake progress, real progress. And that is a small win. Small wins are small successes that build motivation. One idea is a small win, and many small wins create confidence. This system also teaches you flexibility. You learn that one idea can live in many sentences. You learn that English is not fixed. It moves, it bends, it adapts to your life, and something else happens quietly. The next day, when you choose a new idea, the old idea does not disappear. It stays. Your English grows like a tree, not wide and weak, but deep and strong. Roots first, branches later. Okay. From the first day of school, we are trained to think in a very simple pattern. Question-answer. The teacher asks, the students answer. This pattern feels normal to us because we grow up with it. When the answer is correct, everything feels fine. We feel safe. We feel smart. But when the answer is wrong, something uncomfortable happens inside us. We feel small. We feel embarrassed. Sometimes we feel afraid. Little by little, our brain learns a dangerous lesson. It learns that speaking is risky. It learns that silence is bad. It learns that not knowing is a problem. This pattern stays with us for years, often without us noticing. And when we start learning English, we bring this pattern with us. We think that every question needs an answer. We think that practice means producing the right response. We think that if we cannot answer, we are failing. But real language does not work like this. Real language is not a test. Real language is not a performance. Real language is not always clean and finished. In real life, language is often messy. People stop in the middle of sentences. People change their mind while speaking. People begin a thought and then leave it unfinished. Think about real conversations you hear every day. Someone asks a question and the other person stays silent for a moment. Someone says, "I don't know, maybe," and then stops. Someone thinks out loud slowly without a clear answer. This is not bad language. This is natural language. So here is a very different idea for solo practice. You practice English without answers. At first, this idea can feel uncomfortable because many learners believe that without an answer, there is no learning. They believe that silence means nothing is happening. But this belief is not true. Learning can happen inside the question itself. Now, let me explain this slowly. When you ask a question in English and you do not answer it, your mind stays inside English longer. You do not rush back to your own language. You do not rush to finish the thought. You do not escape. You sit with it. This means you stay with a thought or feeling without trying to fix it or push it away. You sit with it. Practicing without answers means you sit with English. You allow English to stay in your mind calmly and quietly. For example, you ask yourself slowly and gently, "Why do I feel calm right now?" And then you stop. You do not explain. You do not search for the perfect words. You do not panic. You simply let the question stay in your mind. Your brain is active but relaxed. This is very important because stress closes the mind. When you are stressed, the brain wants to escape, but calm opens the mind. When you are calm, the brain becomes curious. And curiosity is one of the strongest forces in learning. All right, most English learners think about the future in a very simple way. They think about goals. I want to speak English well. I want to be fluent. I want to feel confident. Goals are not bad, but goals can feel far away. And when something feels far away, it often feels heavy. It feels out of reach. It means it feels too far or too difficult to touch. For many learners, fluent English feels out of reach. So instead of motivation, they feel pressure. Instead of hope, they feel tired. Here's a different idea. Instead of imagining a future goal, you imagine a future memory. This is very important. A goal is something you chase. A memory is something you already lived. The brain reacts differently to these two things. A future memory is not about trying. It is about remembering. So imagine yourself 1 year from now, not as a perfect English speaker, not as someone famous or impressive, just yourself. You are calm. You are speaking English easily. You are speaking English confidently. You are not too fast. You are not perfect. You're just comfortable. Now comes the key part. You imagine that future you is looking back at today. That future you remembers this time. And in English, future you says, "I remember when English was hard. I remember practicing alone. I remember feeling I'm sure." This changes everything. You will look back with kindness. It means you remember the past without judgment. Future you looks back at today with kindness, not with criticism. This matters because the brain learns better when it feels safe. Now imagine future you continue speaking in English. I am glad I did not stop. I am glad I stay patient. I am glad I trusted the process. Language grows quietly, and this technique helps you see that growth before it fully arrives. Okay, my friends, before we finish, I want you to remember one simple thing. You are not late. You are not slow. You are not doing this wrong. Learning English alone does not mean learning English alone without support. It means learning in a quieter way, a kinder way. You take it one step at a time. It means you move forward slowly, without pressure. Not in big jumps, not in perfect days, but in small moments, honest moments. Moments when you think in English. Moments when you stay silent in English. And moments when you do not force answers. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Daily English Talk. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.